value. I wouldn't even put that there, but just that you're still a person. That has no reflection on you as the person, you know? So separating those two, I think, is paramount for mental health. And I think for me, you know, it is a personal kind of business. And so I think it's been helpful to meet other women like me and to be able to give something to them. Yeah. And they're able to give something to me. Like, a lot of people don't know, like, that relationship, even for that moment, is really cool. And I feel really honored when people trust me with these things. That is like a genuine, like, I feel so special when you choose me as a photographer, because I know it's an important moment for you, and I really respect that and really honor that. And it means a lot to me that you would let me in on that. So,
Mental Health Monday.
Mental Health Monday.
I mean, you kind of did it already. You did a great job, but
what up, guys? It's me, Chloe Bovia, with Bovia & Co. Photography.
Yeah.
I'm a beautiful, wonderful Black woman. A believer in Christ Jesus our Lord. My brother in Christ, please.
Jesus!
I'm not the hotep I look like. I'm sorry, guys.
You look like a hotep? Is that what a hotep looks like?
You know, I had a different nose ring a couple of years ago. I just never got around to replacing it, and it was like swirly.
Yeah.
And I was giving the girls Sage, Erykah Badu. I'm like, sorry, guys.
The Badu incense. That's funny.
I was like one eyebrow shave away from like fully looking the part, but
would you shave your eyebrows?
No, I mean, no, I like them.
Yeah, okay.
They're good enough, you know, like, I don't really do much with them, but they're there.
It didn't seem like a you move. But yeah, hey, welcome back to another episode of Mental Health Monday. Here with my girl, Chloe. What up, Chloe?
Hi, guys.
Official photographer, GetHomeSafe on game.
I'm putting that on my website.
Yeah, no, hey, do it. No, shoot, I'll put it on my website. Have like a little profile. Hey, all photos that you see, you know who it is.
I need the SEO bump too, so backlink.
I got you. Let me know about the hashtags that you use. So what does it mean to be a photographer?
Take pictures. I take pictures and I sell that service. I think, you know, I'm not going to get into a whole conversation about it, but I see people debate, like, what's a professional photographer? Like, as soon as you start asking people for money to take photos, you're a professional. I don't care how good or quote good
Honestly,
you are.
Once your emotions are tied into the product, you're a professional.
Immediately.
Yeah, that's
once
all
it's a product, you're a professional, even if you're not good at it.
If there's a focus, if there's an ask, if there's an expectation, you've crossed over into the line of being a professional. Now, if you're not consistent in your own daily life, that has nothing to do with us.
Nothing.
It's just that easy to get in there.
But what makes a photographer is somebody that takes photos on purpose.
Yeah.
I think that's the only requirement in my mind. Like, do you take photos on purpose?
And meeting deliverables. You deliver.
Look, if you're not delivering, you're just not a good photographer, okay? You're not a reliable photographer, but you're a photographer.
I mean, there's some photographers who don't deliver that consider themselves good, so we gotta be careful with that word. But
consider
you deliver
themselves, okay? Good is in the eye of the beholder. Let's be honest. But you know, all I want to say is make art and enjoy yourself doing it. We need art for art's sake. Beauty is important. You know, I think God made the world beautiful, and when He didn't have to, we could have just been cement blocks all the day.
Cement block, everything,
vision, you know?
Just gray, yellow, gray hue, grayer gray.
But why do we have flowers if beauty is not there for the sake of beauty?
Yeah. Why are you so good?
Oh boy. I feel like, and I just made a reel about this, about accepting compliments and not like undermining them. Yeah. And I do think I'm good.
You're
even
good.
Though I do question it sometimes.
You're good enough to teach a couple classes.
I would, you know, honestly, I would love to.
Yeah.
I think that's something I think about a lot. Of just like teaching a class or like, this sounds so corny, but like mentoring youth in photography. I just think, you know, I think art is important, however you approach it. And I just like, I love sharing what I know. And right now I'm in like a photography course, mentorship, coaching program, learning a lot myself. And it's so exciting. And I want other people to feel that excitement of like, you learn something new and then you go immediately try it, you know, just like, and then when it works, it's like last night I did something. I was like in this course watching a video and she was like, okay, and you can make this kind of light with this. And I was like, dropped everything. I'm folding laundry watching this course. I was like, this can get done later. I go upstairs, I get my flash, I get my camera and like all my other little stuff. And I come downstairs, I go in there bothering my husband. I was like, I need some help. It's like, it's like dark inside. I'm like opening blinds and everything. He's like, what are you doing, bro? So I'm bribing the baby with cookies to pose. It's just a mess. But you know, I want people to have that excitement of like finally getting the thing that they've been trying to figure out, like finally hitting that click. That's exciting.
Okay. The reason I ask is, you being the official photographer of all things GetHomeSafe, it takes a lot of trust for me to look at someone's work and be like, I don't think I want to be seen any other way outside of this.
And that's, honestly, it's interesting because I feel like my style is evolving constantly. And I look back at like kind of the work we did before, and I'm like, I like it, but I want to love it, and this is how I think I would love it. And so when people kind of trust me with that, I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm not the same person I was when you first met me, and not in a bad way, but just. And I think there are some elements of my visual style that remain, but I think
keep going.
Yeah, I just think that like I get nervous because I'm like, well, are you gonna like where I've gone right now? Are you on the creative ride with me? Which if you're not, like I get that from people, but yeah. So right now I'm just in a slightly different era with my work than I was when we last worked together. But I don't think it's that different actually.
So the last photo shoot we did, I sometimes look at the photos, like just sit in a dark room with the screen on bright and just look at the photos. And I think to myself, what could we have done better?
First of all, it's terrible for your eyes.
Is that?
Sitting in a dark room with a bright screen?
Well, define dark, because this light is on. It's not pitch black. Like I do good with dim rooms. I have really good eyesight. I don't mean it can't go.
And you're trying to destroy it.
No, that doesn't mean it can't go. It just means like I've been reading manga on a cell phone since 2007, 2008 to now.
So you've evolved as well.
Yeah, like I'm just
Darwinism.
That's all.
Cannot relate.
And I used to eat a lot of carrots growing up. I was like one of the like, hey, where's the carrots with my food kids, right?
Love a carrot.
So when I look at the photos, I see a place where I can grow and the people involved in it can grow. And I realized after we did the photo shoot, some photographers give you the freedom to like, hey, put it together. And there's certain photographers that if you really care about it, you should have meetings with them on the concepts and like, what positions would you like to put people in? What are you trying to capture? What are the deliverables? Which makes it easy. And I feel like I pulled up and I say, yo, let's fuck this shit up. And you were just like, Juice. Juice. Your folks are dope, but guy.
I thought it was cool, and I think I look back and I don't know. I like what I did, but I think there's a lot of technical things that I'm like, I think this is what I want to do, where I have those skills now and I can recognize like what it is that I can take what's in my brain and actually bring it out on, onto the camera at this point.
Like what you did with darkening the room and highlighting certain aspects of the models.
Oh, I love the drama.
That was hard. I said, oh.
I love stuff like that.
It's like indigestion.
And I would do that again. I would love to do that again.
Yeah. Yeah. And then it just reminded me that like in a lot of your work, it's about creating safe spaces and you have to tune yourself with different people. So how do you go about creating the environment that you create that always brings so many people joy?
That's a good question, and it's something I'm always tweaking in terms of my like kind of client process. So with my like kind of main clientele, which is like my portrait clients, right? There's like my process is very detailed for me, I think, and it's because I don't bring in a lot of clients. Remember that I'm not a volume photographer. That's not something I don't think I've ever really wanted to do, and it works for some people. It wasn't really my thing. I like to work on a lot more hand-to-hand basis with my clients, and so from this outset, really, it's about personal connection and my branding. It's about me.
It's strong.
It's about connecting with people in a really genuine way and not like not a capitalist way. I really think about that a lot.
What would a capitalist way be, example-wise?
I think this trend of de-influencing really inspires me because it's about, I don't want you to get it because I'm like, I don't like a lot of the sales tactics that are like get at them emotionally, and like it's effective, but it's like, is it sincere and is it genuine for me? So I think the capitalist thing would be like, this is just to make money, and like thankfully I'm in a place where I don't have to do my business. I'm a stay-at-home mom. Me and my husband agreed on that. before, this business was ever really anything for real. And I wanted to stay at home and work on my business, but, he takes care of things financially. So it's not like, I have to do this and it's not a grind time, thankfully, for some people it is. So, I'm not knocking how you go about it unless it's knockable for real. But I think for me, it's about, okay, I have this opportunity to connect with people in a non-salesy way, like, and to, talk about community and talk about compassion. That's like the word of the year for me, and talk about, just caring and real creativity. And so that's like the brand, and it's, de-influencing. So I'm not trying to get you to just run up the check. If you can't afford it, you can't afford it. And that's not because you're a bad person and you don't value art. It's because you can't afford it. We have to make decisions based on what we can do. So I want people to know that, like, this is not a space where you're being pressured just to spend money, but just to do something you enjoy that helps you fill your cup so you can keep pouring out. Because I think the women that I connect with feel connected to the people around them and want to be able to keep providing. But where's the balance between that and, like, what does self-care look like in a community context? And it's letting people show up for you. And so for me, I want to show up for you. Yeah, you're paying me, but I want that to be genuine, not just feel genuine, but really be sincere. I'm here. I still chat with a lot of my clients and we're friends, so. Yeah, and you don't have to be my friend to be my client, It's not. Yeah. So if you want to just be done with me after, that's okay too.
I mean, you do a great job regardless. I'm just going to let you know you're going to get a lot of compliments in this conversation. So
I'm willing to accept them.
Yourself. How do you feel about yourself? Like, do you care about yourself separately from the work?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. I think... at the end of the day, it's still a business, and it's not me. And so I think that was a big step in self-care. It was like, people booking me or not booking me has nothing to do with me as a human being. It's just the decision that they needed to make for themselves. It doesn't mean they don't. And I think I see this with a lot of small business owners. It's like the no's really, they hit hard. I remember a lady told me straight up, she was like, you need to be... I have this email. I have not forgiven her. I'm going to be honest. I'm working on it. I'll be honest, because I'm just like, that was a wild thing to say. Like, especially, I met her in this group. It was like something about DMV, Black women in luxury or something like that. It was just like, I'm in a lot of Facebook groups because I'm stupid. So the contention is wild out there. But she...
Unchecked contention.
Unchecked. It's absurd. So, and I think that's part of why I stay at. The drama is so interesting. So, but she had messaged me about, doing a photo shoot for her nonprofit. And I was like, okay, very cool. Now, I'm not saying all nonprofits be having money, but like, don't just... so she came expecting to pay, which is cool. But she was like, my other photographer doesn't charge this much, and I think you're overcharging, and you need to set your prices more competitively, and what's making it cost so much? And I was like... That's
what she said to you?
But I asked her, I was like, well, what's the number that you want to work with? And I can tell you what I'll provide within that. I'm not negotiating myself, but I know when I can scale up or scale down, right? Work with a budget. Something? Yeah.
I think for conversations like that, what I usually ask is, why wasn't the price of what we're doing understood before going through with it?
Well, I was very fresh in my business at the time. And I think if I
mean, on her part, in terms of her asking and understanding, not you.
Oh, I don't know what she was doing. She was just,
Did she ever try to have the conversation with you, or was it after?
Well, she told me what she wanted, and I told her, I was like, well, let me know, you want kind of a custom gig, and I didn't really have anything locked in stone.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm happy to, let you know what it would cost for me, right? And if you have a particular budget in mind, let me know. And I can let you know I can't work with that, or I can. But she didn't want to discuss further after that. And that's like, to me, if you're not going to come respectfully to the table, I don't want to continue to engage. I think that's not necessary. And that was a hard lesson for me to realize, she telling me it's not that serious, or, you need to price yourself more competitively. Nobody charges this much, blah, blah. And it's like, this is one person, and, just... Even if all those things were true, just the way you're even saying them tells me you're not telling me them from a place of good, sincere, Yeah. And that's not the kind of person that I want to work with. So especially you on Facebook flexing, talking about you got, luxury and blah, blah, blah. Not girl.
So you have luxury in one section, but you can't afford luxury in another section.
And I'm not saying that, you got to be expensive in all areas, right? But the attitude didn't read expensive to me.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm just like, you saying all this stuff and then behind closed doors, you're just disrespectful to another black woman, you know, so.
But you know, folks like using terms and props like black women and community as negotiation pieces to like manipulate what the market is giving or not giving. Like I talked to a lot of my folks about this. I was like, you know, I appreciate that a lot of the people I'm doing work with right now currently, when they use the word community, you can see what the community means versus it's community this, community that. But when you look at everything they're doing, it's like, what about that says community, bro? Or what about that shows that you actually incorporate the community in what you're doing?
Yeah. And at the end of the day, people, you know them by their actions. And it's really, I think that's, you know, that's all you can go with. And so, you know, how you talk to people, that stuff matters. And I don't know. I think back to the question about do I care about myself? Or I think that was one of the things I had to detach me, Chloe, from the business.
Yeah.
Because it was like,
what's the name of your business?
Bovia and Co. Photography. Maryland State will get that DBA form soon. So in case anybody's checking, shh. But yeah, Bovia and Co. Photography. That's Bovia with a B. Don't nobody else got that name, so you can't mess it up. But yeah, I think it's I do care about myself, and the business itself has been an exploration for myself, a very spiritual journey. I think God has really been infused throughout, and I think it's caused me to be humble and to love myself like Jesus loves me. And I think that looks like kindness and compassion and worth no matter how I feel. You know, like God loves me no matter how I think about me.
Yeah.
And I think that's really powerful, and I try to bring that to my day-to-day life and let other women know. I think, you know, we all battle with body issues, so like that's such a prevalent challenge. And so, you know, just reminding people, you don't have to feel good to be loved. You know, you don't have to be healed to be loved. You know, love is something you need. It's not a privilege. It's not a gift. Or I mean, it is a gift in a sense, but it's also just a necessity. We don't get by without real, true, accountable, sincere love.
Yeah.
And so that's something that I learned along this photography path is like, you know, I started off doing a lot of boudoir. And the girlies...
Let's talk about that because we're here now.
Yeah, I think boudoir is cool, but I never wanted it to be like overtly sexual. I like the really like subtle boudoir. And I'll do some spicy stuff.
I don't think there's enough boudoir.
You don't think there's enough?
No, not on my timeline. So like...
Why you want your timeline horny?
Well, it's not. I don't think boudoir is meant to be horny. I think it's about the freedom of expression in a different format and palette. I
agree.
And the way the consumers consume it is horny.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the disconnect is. So like, I don't know if it's because of the work that I've done or my overexposure to attractive people working at Velvet and running Velvet and like all these other things and meeting these people. But like, I usually tell folks, if you meet someone who's like a star or someone who's like an influencer, or they're held on a podium by like a large group of people, those people are usually looking for someone that just treats them like a person. And from that, I see the other side of, oh, this attention is cool, but then it goes over the, oh, that's not cool line very quickly.
Yeah, very quickly.
Yeah.
But I think with boudoir for me, it was always, and I think it really is about intimacy, you know, and just that personal moment, you know.
What that looks like.
And I feel like I wanted to shift away from kind of the more sexually, even like explicit and implicit imagery and focus more on, okay, I want to focus on the intimacy and I want to focus on creativity outside of that. That sexual notion, because I follow a lot of boudoir photographers and I think they have really lovely work and really sincere missions in what they do. I think what I fell out of alignment with was this idea that to feel confident, sexy, and empowered, or confident and empowered, you had to feel sexy, you know, and that there are so many ways to get to that path. And I think I wanted to really break away from this idea that exposure was needed to feel because that required that outside validation, right? Like but I think I really wanted to explore this idea of kind of secrets and intimate moments that are just for us, because so much of our lives are already exposed with social media and the internet and
oversharing,
and just like, and even the regular level of sharing, is much higher than it has been before all this stuff came out, right? Facebook and all the whatnot. So I want to kind of go backwards, honestly, and give women a space to have something that's just for you. And that's why I'm so passionate about print products, getting things printed, because it's not to be broadcast necessarily.
I like that.
Whoop, whoop.
Product of yours.
I love it.
Right there,
but that's your secret thing that you can physically come back to, and I think there's something really, really powerful about that. Even if it's not a quote unquote secret, but just something that's intimate with you that you don't feel obligated to share with the rest of the world, because it's not necessarily their business, whether it's boudoir or just a headshot. Honestly, just something that is a tangible memory and a moment for you to come back to. And so that's why I moved away from boudoir, because it really felt more about exposure rather than kind of that coming in to yourself.
I thought with the work you were doing in boudoir, it felt more suggestive than anything else, which I think that's important, because like appeal and intimacy usually comes from a buildup of things, not just every time you saw a lake you dived in. You're like, oh, let's check out the trees and the branches that's by the side of the lake, and oh, there's fishes in this pond, and oh, I didn't know we had moss growing over here. And it's like, would you drink that water? Gotta boil it. But like, you're actually thinking about everything that goes into the process, and then oh, so this is everything that made a lake. Yeah, that's what your process is compared to like how people like to consume it, where just like sexy, and you're like, that's cool, but it's a part of it, guys. You got layers to the cake, right?
Yeah, and I want to bring that to I think it's really just about storytelling, and that's how we build intimacy, right? It's just like the stories we tell each other and the conversations we have. And so I try to make space for that in my sessions with clients. I want to, we have a lot of time to talk. And so from the beginning of the process to the very moment we take that photo, and throughout that process, this is where you get to tell stories and you get to just talk freely. I'm mostly a stranger, right? And I don't post a lot of client sessions. I post mostly models that I work with, because I think at the end of the day, I have model releases for everybody. I can post whatever I want, but some things I just really want people to be able to have for themselves, and to, put that out in the world on their own terms. Now y'all gonna be in my marketing materials on my website and stuff. But I mean, for the most part, where it's the most visible, I like to keep that to people who have like come in explicitly to be, part of the visual. But it's about stories, and it's about building up to the moment. Because to me, this is why I'm not a volume photographer. Like, I can't. I'm invested. I'm all the way in, and like, I can't do a 20-minute session and really get what I think will be up to my standard, if you will. How long is
the usual session for you?
Hour and a half.
Okay.
And then we do an hour of makeup before that.
So that's a 2.5 hour process then.
Minimum, not to say it like goes super duper long, but 2.5 to 3 hour process, because you get your makeup done. We're sitting down. My makeup artist, Julie, shout out Crippled But Cute Artistry. She's an amazing, amazing person. She sits and talks with my clients, and she's like, how do you treat your skin? And we're getting into life stories. We're talking about our dogs. I don't have a dog anymore. We're talking about, kids and dating and everything, while you're in the chair, while I'm setting up. And then once you come out of the chair, I think it helps to give you that sense of relaxation. And this is about presence in your body now, right? And hopefully helps you get out of your head a little bit and into your body, into the studio, and get you in place where you are, so you can move and feel free and try things that you've been wanting to try but felt nervous about, or felt like, oh, I'm gonna look crazy. I mean, you will a little bit, but I'm not gonna show you the photos where you look crazy. That's not necessary.
So, you guys are only gonna get the best.
I'm gonna tell you if you look strained or uncomfortable, and help you to relax. We breathe, we stretch, so it's and you talk. You tell me, you know, what's going on. And I'm just a stranger in the wind. I'm not telling nobody, you know. Honestly, I don't even tell my husband the stuff that my clients be saying. And I tell my husband everything. Don't tell me nothing if you don't want him to know. You know, it's not going nowhere outside of that. But I'm married. I'm going to tell him. Okay. So, but with clients, like, I don't feel the need to share that information. I feel like a free space, you know, like that doesn't live in my mind forever. But for that moment, I'm there for you. And if you need me to be there for you after that, I'm there, you know. But I think photo shoots are so intimate for me because people are telling me things that they're insecure about. You know, they're telling me physical things that they're not able to do. Like, so a lot of people are not able to kneel on hard surfaces, you know. That's part of like the questionnaire I send out. You know, what can you physically do? What are you comfortable doing? It's not like a HIPAA violation, but, you know, what do you... I'm asking a lot of information from people because I want it to be for you. Yeah. You know, so, but that stuff can feel really intimate, you know, and especially if you're in a place where you're not ready to admit that squatting is hard for you. Me. So, you know, that can be really intimate. So it takes a lot of trust, and I really appreciate that from people. And that's why I want to give them the time to, you know, get warmed up in a photo shoot, because you're trusting me with something that I think is very precious. And that's photos of you, art revolving around you and your story. And so I want you to know that you're coming into a space where it's valued. You're not just like, you know, I don't have my vision of what's supposed to happen. I mean, kind of, but it's not just, okay, you're going to do this, this, and this. It's let's create this vision together. And so it takes time.
Do you think men should explore the space that you've created more often?
They should, and I should promote to men more often. And I feel like y'all have been dragging me quietly. Like, nobody said it out loud.
Wait, what do you mean?
I just feel like people are asking me, like, do you photograph men too? And I'm like, I mean, legally, yes, right? Like,
that's funny. Legally, yeah. I take photos of them sometimes.
Sometimes, right? But I have not built my marketing around men because I'm not a man, you know, and I'm not going to pretend that, like, to me, men and women are different people, you know, and I don't know what, do y'all say the N word on here? I don't know what the niggas be needing. Just cut it out if you need to.
No, but I say the N word quite often.
Okay, I didn't know if this was like.
No, you're fine. I'm not at the point that YouTube's like, we're taking the money because you say that word too much. I'm like, you got a Jersey nigga and a Michigan to Detroit nigga in the room together. It's just whatever happens is gonna happen.
To clarify, I'm not from Detroit. I'm from Detroit metropolitan area. I'm from Pontiac, Michigan. It's not a pride thing.
Do you know about 313 Day?
No, I'm not from Detroit. Don't ask me no Detroit questions.
I'm not asking no Detroit questions. I'm just saying, do you know about that day? That day is my day.
Oh, that's March 13th. Oh,
yeah.
Well,
and I know that's like a whole day that they do over there. So it's like, fuck with that.
It's cool. Yeah. It's cool. I just want to clarify because I don't want anybody coming talking like, oh, you remember?
I don't. Folks be pulling your card.
I don't. I'm on the other end of Woodward, baby. That ain't my business. I'm on the big loop. Y'all got the little loop. I don't know what to tell you. No, I mean, I love Detroit. It's cool. That's not the point though. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what the niggas really want in their photos, and I think I pride myself on very soft and feminine aesthetics. Not pride myself, but I love that. Flowers and
a lot of men need that though. We are the equivalent of hard in most places and how we're depicted and pitched. So when I saw the softness you brought to the photo shoot, I could show up and be big and bad. I could show up and be vulnerable. But most men who do work with me haven't really explored that or seen moments of that in themselves. So when you deliver, that's it. You see yourself, guys. You see it. And you see that body of work.
I would love to see more men kind of take that journey. You know, I think the body expectations are different, but it's still challenging.
Yeah, that's why I'm doing these all men photo shoots.
I think it's really cool though to see when men explore softness, even if it doesn't look. You know, it doesn't have to be flowers and pink all the time. You know, but it's really just like, you know, taking that time to be vulnerable and just talk about it and be honest with yourself and with someone who has no stakes with you. I think that's really helpful. And yeah, I would definitely love to photograph more men. I think maybe I just think really hard about the personal connection for me because I'm not a man, and I think
you ask the right questions. Like you're approaching where you are now. I don't think that's a bad thing that you haven't photographed a bunch of men. If anything, that kind of makes you be more considerate of, okay, when I do have more male clients that are reaching out to me, what do I need to deliver? And I'm pretty sure I'm that person. I just need to make sure that habit of who I am when I'm with them is just more intentional, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think something too is like, just from a marketing standpoint, you know, a lot of people come to me specifically for birthday, or just I've had a big transition in life and I want to honor that for myself. But I never hear men talk about doing that. And I don't know, maybe because I just don't be in male spaces like that.
No, it's an observation. But I feel the same way. Keep going. I
don't hear a lot of men or see them talking about the like women that come to me. I've had women come to me after a divorce, you know, and it might be a year or a few years later, but they're seeing themselves in a new light, and they want help with that, you know, and they want to say, I want to see myself differently. You know, I'm a different person. It's my birthday. I really want to celebrate this in a different way. I got a new job, you know, and I really want to celebrate this leap in my career. It's usually a transition point or turning point. So I try to tailor my marketing to kind of that messaging of just honoring these different segments of your life, whether they're good or bad. Honestly, you know, you'll see it on my website. This moment is worth remembering, because it is. You never know. And you know, I don't know, who cares what it's going to be for, but I think about people in the Bible, like they did not know, you know, and like lives a total wreck, and they didn't realize they were a lesson for us, right? And you never realize how your life is going to be for somebody else. And so I think it's just beautiful to preserve that, even if it, you know, who cares where it goes at the end, you know, like you won't know, we're going to be dust in the ground, but you know, to honor it and to celebrate it and to see the beauty in it still, even when it hurts, even when it's challenging, to know that it's still a moment that can teach you or just comfort you or whatever. I see a lot more women taking the time to honor those big transitions. I don't really hear of men like taking the time to, you know, I want to do a photo shoot because I got a new job or it's my birthday, you know. I feel like it sounds really feminine, but in reality, it's like, I want to just do something cool. And sometimes just taking some pictures is a fun thing to do. You know?
I talked to a couple of my folks about that, and I was like, you know, unfortunately, it's unfortunate that most people don't do a photo shoot unless it's, we had a new baby, we got married, happy birthday. And for women, it's, I just want to celebrate some shit. And like, that's really it. Men kind of sort of count for like two of those categories, but I look at it and I'm like, when I started doing photo shoots in 2018 for like a lot of brand stuff, I was like, dang, so you gotta spend this much money on the regular for this? Okay, cool. Dang, wait, we have to have outfits for this? I can't just show up and like take a photo and go? I was like, oh wait, I need to have a concept behind this now that I've done a certain amount of oh, there gotta be clothes with branding and messaging depending on what I'm doing? And then I was just like, people haven't even experienced one day of just this for fun. Yeah. And to me, it's interesting to me how, as a human being, you have something that you have access to that's so amazing, and then it never occurs to yourself like, oh, I should do that for myself one day. Because like for me, I did it for a product and a business and everything else, and then like 5 years later, you've heard me talk to you about it, and I talked to Imani about it. I'm like, yo, I need to just do a photo shoot for myself. I don't know if I've ever just done a photo shoot for me that wasn't like tied to a business. Yeah. I used to model for a friend of mine when she started on photography, but after that, I haven't had like a pleasurable photo shoot for myself. You know, I've done a few self-portraits, and I think about it now, and I'm planning to do one. I just haven't found the photographer I want to work with yet. Hand rub that hand rub said business when I get in there. It's going to be a wrap. Oh, but I want to do it because I want to feel, you know, what it's like on the client side of things. But, you know, it's like... You'll learn so much. Yeah. Yeah. And I just want to do it because I want to do it. And I want to do like a family photo shoot for real. We haven't had a really, really juicy one. So I want to do that. But, you know, it's just on my aspiration list. It's not like I'm avoiding it or anything. I just haven't planned for it yet. So, but I think it's important, you know, you're in the rhythm of something, you got to step out of it. And I think for men, I think a lot of men would be a little bit more healed if they took the time to look at themselves, you know. I took the words right out of my mouth. Like, look at you, you know. And I just think, I know y'all are struggling with some things, with a lot of the same things. I mean, as a photographer, you've seen it up close or from a certain perspective. I mean, as a woman, I know I've dealt with body image issues, right? And I see, you know, I'm married to a man, and I'm related to men. So I see what men struggle with and don't have
have the vocabulary for, or don't have the support system for, or just don't have the kind of cultural expectation for.
Yeah.
You know, and so I think, and some men just don't want to do it, which is fine. I don't really care. You know, like if you don't want to do it, I respect your wants, right? But if there's something in you yearning to try something creative that is not typically ascribed to men, which is so funny, you know, I mean, like, these niggas in the wigs in the 1800s had whole paintings dedicated to them. So why are we not taking more photos?
All that low grade powder.
So, you know, I'm like, you know, so it's just the cultural tides shift here and there. But ultimately, you know, I think men would do well to take a moment to look at themselves and, you know, have an affirmation or two, you know, pray to know that they're loved outside of what anybody feels or whatever they may feel, you know, and to be vulnerable about those things. And I want to create I want the space to be known for coming in and being able to just take it off. Even if you don't talk about me, I'm not your therapist. I'm not going to give you no advice. I'm going to tell you that off top. But I am here to listen and to take that in consideration for the story that you want to tell and that you want to be remembered for.
Yeah. I think all men should have 5 therapy sessions and 1 photo shoot session. Because, you know, your therapy sessions, the first 3 sessions are you guys really trying to figure out who's who. And then the second and third, the 4th and 5th is the real conversation of actually starting your journey of you guys untangling and figuring out, so what's really going on? So
look, man, if you get on your 5th, if you can give me a punch card for your 5th therapy session, I'll give you a complimentary session, no session fee. But you still have to purchase the photos. Of course. Anyway.
Of course.
Complimentary, your session fee is waived. But I need to see the 5th appointment fulfilled.
Yeah.
All 59 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If they're giving you that much.
If they're giving you that much.
Some therapists are only giving you a half hour and some therapists are giving you the full hour.
Get the punch card.
Yeah.
You can come in. I'm happy to do it. Because it would, and even if it's not a photo shoot, even if it's just you taking some selfies, like honestly, just look at yourself and look at yourself with compassion. I don't know what the internal narrative is for men, right? But like I know, at least just for me as a person, looking in the mirror.
Internal narrative, what does that mean? Like, what are you referring to?
Just when you look in the mirror and what you immediately jump to say, you know? And I talk about this a lot, I think. I say that I talk about this to myself a lot.
You have a good internal voice.
I have a personal TED Talks a lot, so I'm always preparing for the speech that I haven't given yet.
If you're not hyping you up, who gonna hype you up?
Okay,
do it for yourself.
But I think something really important is when you come into the mirror, are you immediately criticizing? You know, are you like, I gotta work on that, man. That this ain't like, this ain't, for me, I would be like, I don't got no booty. Just so got a square butt. This sucks. And like I really prayer and just I don't know, life. Like after I had the baby, my self-esteem was in the like pits of hell. I just did not feel good about myself because my body, I hadn't really loved my body for real, and I hadn't really, gotten to this place of good self-talk. And so now I look in the mirror and I'm like, square butt gang, square butt nation, like square booty nation. And so I feel good about my body. I'm taking care of my body. I say I'm working out and I'm doing things that I'm doing movement that I enjoy. Yeah. I'm doing workouts that make me feel good versus I just got to do this. No, I do it because I enjoy it now. And I lost a little bit of weight, but really the joy is like I accomplished something and I accomplished something that was good for me. I'm eating food I enjoy and I'm taking care of myself spiritually. I'm talking to God and I'm doing it with sincerity and humility and adoration and finding joy in things, even when it's hard. I'm not gonna say it's all rainbows and sprinkles, but the way that I talk to myself when I come in the mirror, I come in with compassion, and that's an intention every day, is to say, okay, before I jump to not liking whatever, I find myself, I look in the mirror and I feel really happy with my body. Yeah. I look in the mirror, I'm like, you go, girl, and it doesn't look very different from what it did a year ago or 2 years ago when I had the baby,
But the level of appreciation makes you want to do more with who you already are.
Exactly. And just being able to come into the mirror and say, I'm grateful for this body. This is a good body. This body is getting up and doing things. And I think, you know, for my chronic illness girlies or people disabled whose bodies, I think, you know, I meet people who feel like their bodies have betrayed them. You know, your body is in pain, or it can't do certain things, or it's not, you know, with the norm. I think there's still something worth celebrating there. And I can't tell you what it is, but, you know, we have to come to the mirror with compassion and gratitude for a body that's doing its best with what it got. You know, they're really, I'm not, and I don't want to bring it to like a toxic positivity place, but there's got to be some gratitude for yourself and some grace for a body that it may not be doing what you expected it or wanted to do, right? But it's still there, and it still really needs you to come up with compassion and love for it, or else nothing's gonna work, you know?
As you were talking, I pictured you doing the Denzel lip quiver with the fingers. That's number one. That's what I pictured. Number two, I think one of the most important things I did when I stopped doing pro tryouts, because I knew I'm not going to be working out as much. I'm going to slowly start stopping the workouts and slowing down. Like, hey, see this body that you got? This is probably the most perfect, because that's what you've told yourself while doing these tryouts, body you have. As things roll back and you're no longer that person, remember, you're still that person. Just different. This is still all you. So, like, you know, accept it for who it is. So I think when I wake up in the morning, I've never been like, oh, that gotta go, that gotta go. I've been like, okay, we're here now. You know, what are we doing with it? You know, are you aware of who you are and who you're not? And just enjoy it as you got it.
Yeah.
Like, you still that bitch. And that's always on me. That's always on me. You feel me? But
and it's a body.
Yeah.
It ain't gonna look, these girls are lying on the internet, okay? They're getting surgery and they're not telling people. You know,
or they're not eating.
They're not eating.
Yeah.
They're treating themselves horribly.
And guys too.
And
men too.
I can't remember who it was, but like selling nutrition supplements and telling you like, I'm all paleo, carnivore, raw.
But their whole diet's completely different from
the whole diet is steroids.
Yeah.
So, you know, just like I think social media, we haven't really learned how to consume that in a healthy way. And I don't know that there is a healthy way, but you know, to remember, like, these people don't got nothing to do with you and what they're selling and whatnot. They don't care about your body and your health and your love for yourself, right?
Imposter syndrome is also really good for sales.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. I get nonstop, like, I don't know when Instagram found out I work out sometimes, but I get nonstop videos, like transformation videos. And I'm just like, baby.
Have you ever looked up any workouts or anything like that, or how to do like a certain workout? Because once you do that one time, it's over.
I follow certain fitness influencers that are more about like doing good things for your body.
That's all it needs.
They're like, body transformation, this is how I did it 60 days in. And I'm like, and what I realized is like, my body is probably not going to look like that without surgery, and that's okay. Like I know what my mama looks like. I look like her. Like
I tell folks the most important thing you can do when it comes to working out is like, your workouts are supposed to make you feel better. It's supposed to be about how does it make you feel, and then whatever the aesthetic is whatever the aesthetic is. But do you have the range, the flexibility, and the power? And do you feel good as you have those things?
Yeah, and is it making your life better?
Yeah, because you could end up destroying your life by going too hard and not having a good measure of like what your limit is human-wise.
And this is something I thought about recently. I was thinking about reaching out. You know, I'm trying to collaborate with people more often and, you know, have connections to build clientele, right? But I saw this lady, she does workout stuff. she has a fitness business or whatever. And I was really thinking like, I don't know that I really want to align myself with like, excuse me, you've had your body transformation, now do the photography. I don't think, I just wanted to bring that up because it was just something I was thinking about. But that was something I thought really hard about, was just like, do I want to align myself with that kind of vision for things? Because I'm happy for you. If you want to transform your body, do that, babes. And take a photo shoot if you want to. But I don't want to kind of align the brand with this idea of like, you are not your best self until you've done the boot camp or you've done, you know, because whatever your best self is, I think every day that goalpost changes. But I think also I really wanted to focus on you are not less deserving of being remembered because of your weight or what your body is not doing or doing at any given time, you know. And I I threw the idea away after that because I just felt like, you know, you don't have to earn compassion for yourself.
Yeah.
You know, you
should already be there.
It should already be there. And if you want to celebrate a milestone, I think that's great. But I think sometimes too, you just can end up putting something off for years and years and years. You know, you can put off love for yourself. And if you're not loving yourself, you're loving other people less. You know, the reality is like, I think the important thing about self-care is it's part of our community care, you know, and you're not showing up for people the way they need you when you're not showing up for yourself.
Can you do me a favor? Can you move the microphone from here to the collar?
Oh,
yeah.
That makes a lot more sense because I was slapping it.
I was thinking about how rough the material for the jeans is, and I was like, that might get on the microphone, and she doesn't need that. It's a really good mic. All you gotta do is clip it, and you good. It's just when you did this, I was like, oh, that mic is having the time of its life. But keep going though, because I got like 2 questions for you. You're dropping gems, by the way.
Thank you. It's not, you know, I just be talking, and I enjoy talking.
You have experience. When you have experience, you're not just talking. When you have experience, you're speaking from a place of I've handled this with people and myself, and these are my observations. And when I change these things, this is when life finally got better for me.
Yeah,
that's it.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
You know.
What would you say are 3 steps towards building compassion for yourself?
I'm an old church lady inside. And God is so important to that as what I believe to be the source and essence of love. And so to understand that you were created out of love and you are loved no matter what. And that love looks like accountability and truth telling and compassion and kindness and patience and more. That love is a full picture and a personality and an action, and it's not just like romance and whimsy. It shows up in really dark moments. You know, to know that you were created by love, for love, with love. I think holding that near and dear is so important, because there comes a point in time when you just don't have the source is finite, you know, right here. And so to reach into an infinite source of love, I think is so important to be able to keep moving forward. Because you know, I love the idea of like body positivity, but I don't feel positive about my body every day. You know, like that'd be weird, right? Like to every single day, I always feel good. Like
forcing the positive.
Forcing it, and it's just not sincere. So, you know, for the moments when I don't have anything for myself, you know, and I'm not sure how to reach out even, I think that's the next step is community. And I feel like I throw that word kind of loosely around, but having that source of love, and then, you know, people around you is so, some of these Facebook groups. And what I notice a lot of is that a lot of people come to these places for advice and things like that you should have friends for, you know? Like you really need to have people who know you and know when you're wilding and talk to you.
Let them check you. Put yourself in position for it.
Put yourself in position and have a community that you can trust. Now, that's not easy. I'm not saying that like you just need to have a community. That takes time and building, but you know, and if your community is on the internet, like where people, again, love is about more than just like liking or being kind, but also truth telling is so important in finding that compassion for yourself and being honest, I think. And so having a community where you can do that is so necessary. I saw this lady post event. But it was wild. She posted, there's an anonymous feature on Facebook that is an absolute menace to society. So you can post anonymously in groups, and people do it when they just don't, somebody might be planning a surprise for somebody and they don't want to be found out, even though they'll give like this person's social security number basically. Like they'll be like, yeah, so I'm planning a surprise for my best friend. He's 6 feet and a Caucasian male, Scottish descent. And
dang.
Talking about. But a lot of times people are posting anonymously because they don't want people in their business, right? But you putting all your business out there, so I don't know. But
people connect dots
easily. But somebody had posted something like, oh no, I forgot what it was. But you'll see a lot of people post about like relationship problems, a lot of divorce, and it's really sad. But you know, people are posting, you know, like my husband has been doing this, and this, blah, blah, blah. I'm so mad, blah, blah, blah. But this is, to me, what a real community does And whether that community is just you and your mama or something, because that's me. I call my mom for everything, right? When I'm having marriage troubles, I call her. She's been married 122 years, and they seem to be doing pretty good. So I talk to her because she checks me. She doesn't let me talk bad about myself or my husband. She lets me vent, but she don't let me insult him. Yeah. You know? And so I think you need a community that doesn't let you insult yourself. You know, it's not like, you know, oh, don't say that. But like, no, girl, we don't talk like that about ourselves. Yeah. I know you're feeling that, but you're not going to take that to the next level of putting yourself down. You know?
We don't want to let you practice that here.
It's not a practice right here. Even if you don't feel valuable and worthy, I love you. Yeah. I'm not here to convince you of how you should feel about yourself, but I'm not going to let you tear yourself down or let that bleed over into tearing other people down. I had a friend one time, it was some drama. I'm not a big drama girl. I try to stay away from it, but she was feeling down about herself, and that had turned into talking about other people crazy. And I was like, no, babe, we don't talk about people like that. Yeah. What they got to do with this? You know, like, even if they treated you some type of way, I'm here for you, but we're not going to talk about them like that, because this is mean. Yeah. This isn't you know, being honest or anything. You're just being mean now. And so I think when we lack that compassion for ourselves and lack a community that can show up for us, and when I say community, I mean like a friend, you know, a spouse, a partner, a parent, somebody.
Project. Sometimes it's just an individual project.
It's one-on-one, and somebody that will be honest with you and say, the way you're talking about yourself, that's not okay. Yeah. You know, and even if you don't have the answers, but somebody that can help you, you know, just come alongside you and be a friend to you. That's so important for that self-compassion, because we don't have it in us all the time, you know. And if you start from nothing, where you gonna go? Yeah. You know,
started from the bottom, now I'm here.
Exactly. Yeah. And the third thing, I don't know, get God, get a friend, and get off the internet. Because I love the internet. I think it's done cool things, but I also think that the constant deluge of information and visuals that
it just creates comparison
and quietly tells you that you're not enough a lot of the time, you know. And so, you know,
a whisper,
hey, ugly, you know. But you know, just and curate your content, right? I know that the echo chamber issue is very real, but you also have to, you know, live your real life. And if social media or whatever you're consuming is causing you to think less of yourself, you know, and is causing you to close in and not reach out, then you need to rethink your relationship with those things and figure out, is this helping me or is it causing me harm? You know, and make some hard choices, because it's necessary. We have to survive. We've never had this much information at our fingertips ever. Yeah. And now having to discern if I should go keto or if I should go Mediterranean diet, you know, at every turn, or if I should be lifting heavy or if I should be doing Pilates. Like,
which are good questions.
You know, like fair questions, but
if you're asking it too much and there's an over focus on what you're not doing, then it's like, when do you ever get to focus?
Analysis paralysis. And a lot of people are just trying to sell you something.
Yeah.
You know, and there are a lot of genuine people on social media. I'm one of them, right? But at the end of the day, you have to take some time away from it's ads mostly, right? Let's be real. You know, people sponsor products, influencers, all of that. And that's fine. But if you need real information and real answers, it's time to reach out to the real people around you and get those answers, you know.
I saw what you did there. That was like a great real section. What goes into an ideal photo shoot?
Ideal? I don't even know what that looks like, because I think not in a bad way. I think every single photo shoot for me is so different, and I think ideally in a photo shoot, I just like working with somebody that trusts me, but I enjoy when people have their own kind of vision for things too. So it's whatever. Like, I don't really. I don't care, but I think, you know, coming in and either you trust my vision or you have a vision that we can work with, that's part of the ideal process for me. I don't love coming up with stuff on the fly, I've learned. Like, I don't really love, like, I mean, I'm going to try some stuff, but I think about those things beforehand, you know, like this is the scope of things I want to try. And largely that's a time thing for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm not trying to be here all day.
Yeah.
I love you, but I really want to go home and go back to sleep, you know.
Time is prime time.
But because creating is work sometimes, and that's just the honesty of it. But it's not that I don't want to do it. I really want to be, you know, sincere about my level of energy and availability. So, some sort of plan, even if vague, is part of an ideal session. Chatting is important to me. Like I'm more introverted than I used to be, but I still like, if it's like a completely silent session, it's weird. So music, or like if we're having conversation, I think is super important. It helps me feel comfortable. I think it helps other people feel comfortable. So things like that. And, I don't know. After that, it's just like kind of like the session itself. Like, I think for me, the ideal part is when I come in with a plan of like, particularly lighting has always been something I'm very like anal about, but like that's what photography is just light, right? And so
why are you anal about lighting as a photographer?
Because without good lighting, without the lighting you're trying to accomplish, like you don't get anything done, right? Yeah. Like good lighting doesn't just happen. And I say good loosely because, you know, you want a particular result, you need to know how to get the light there to do it. I love natural light, but that's not always immediately available to me, whether it's the space or just the time of day, right?
Yeah.
And so learning how to light in a way that gives you a similar result, or learning how to light dramatically like those portraits or whatever, like however you want to get your result, to be able to do it consistently.
Do a great job on the drama.
Well, and I love drama photos. I think it's just really funny. Lately I've noticed I make these really like I feel like tortured poses of the people, or like just very like anguished sometimes, but that's not me as a person. So I'm like, I think that's so funny, but I love exploring that in art, like those Renaissance paintings where people just look like aghast, you know? So I love that. That's my jam right now. Yeah. But yeah, light is so important. Like just being able to manipulate light is like, I think the number one job of a photographer, right? So if you're looking to be, I don't want to be like one of those gatekeeper artists. Like you're not a real photographer if like, that's not the point at all. But I think whatever you're photographing on, be it film, a digital camera, your phone or whatever, you know, knowing how light works and how your camera works, I think are two of the most important things. And then being able to connect to your client, you know, well, for me, not everybody photographs people, right? To me, being able to connect to their story and connect that to the work that you're doing is really important for me. And that I won't say that's an essential part of it, but it's a nice part, right? Yeah. So narrative is important for me, but light is like, no matter what you're using, like I was seeing on like Threads, I'm a threader. But I be tweeting. And so I feel like I saw the iPhone 15 we're on. They used it for like a commercial or whatever, and they did it for the whole Apple commercial. Yeah, and they had all the equipment and blah blah. So a lot of the photographers, videographers were like, "Well, what do you shouldn't need all that stuff if it's such a good camera." And then the other half of photographers were like, "That's just how that's how you film a production." Like this is just how you produce a photo. And a lot of people who don't do photography don't realize I don't just show up and click a button, right? I'm not like, there's a lot of prep. Being intentional with your light, I think is so important. And especially when you're trying to lock in your own style, like for me, I like to jump around a lot stylistically, but when you're trying to lock in your own style, especially if you're trying to produce a consistent result, you need to know how light works at minimum, even if you don't really know how to flex it, which I think they go hand in hand, but light is all important in photography, no matter what kind of gear you have. If you don't know what to do with the light, then you're not going to get what you're trying to get on purpose. Yeah, and what's hilarious is that point you just brought out just means those people don't realize the difficulty of shooting ProRes RAW. Okay, and video, I really respect videographers because that is a whole other ball game. It's a complete, the amount of learning I've had to do the stuff that I do, like, what you see on GetHomeSafe and the edits I do, I am not doing the greatest job of lining my color grade up correctly. And I'm aware, I'm like, oh, you got to do that better. Like, look, right now everybody's cool with this. You have 6 months to learn the better version of this or less. It's tough, but At the end of the day, yeah, I think just like an ideal shoot for me is like, did I come in with a plan for my light? If nothing else goes right, do I know what kind of light I'm going to do?
Yeah. So you just be like, at least I got my lighting right.
Because that's 90% of the work. In my opinion, that's 90% of the work. Like, if the lighting is off, it's just like, dog, whatever. Like, this is trash, And you're not going to see it on my face if I didn't get it right. But, if it's with a client, I have a very stiff plan for lighting. Like, I don't fuddle with it. But if I'm working with a model or somebody I'm cool with, where we got some time to, move around, that's where I get my practice in. And like, okay, this is what you was trying to accomplish. Like, let's get it right. So I do usually do a test shoot before I work with a paying client. Yeah. Because I'm just like, I'm not finna be in here embarrassed. That's what I know I'm not going to do. Yeah. So, yeah.
When it comes to the work that you've done, how does that relate to mental health?
Back to my initial point about separating your person from your business. Yeah. I think it's incredible for your mental health because you're going to get a lot of no's no matter what you do, I think. Like, just, especially if you're really pounding the pavement to get your business out there, you're going to get a lot more no's than yeses. And that's just math, like, and that's okay. But not allowing those to change how you feel about yourself or your passion, especially as an artist, and your part of your business is your art. Like, you have to trust I wouldn't even say the value. I wouldn't even put that there, but just that you're still a person. That has no reflection on you as the person, So separating those two, I think, is paramount for mental health. And I think for me, it is a personal kind of business. And so I think it's been helpful to meet other women like me and to be able to give something to them. Yeah. And they're able to give something to me. Like, a lot of people don't know. Like, that relationship, even for that moment, is really cool. And I feel really honored when people trust me with these things. That is like a genuine, like, I feel so special when you choose me as a photographer, because I know it's an important moment for you, and I really respect that and really honor that. And it means a lot to me that you would let me in on that. So I think it feels good to be wanted. We can say that, right? Like, it feels good to be wanted and to be, chosen. Yeah. So, that's a good, like, affirmation. And then to see, how people continue to grow after, like, blossom, and how they get to see themselves. Like, that's just, it's part of that little bit of community you create. Like, I helped you and you helped me. That's beautiful. We made something beautiful together. And then mental health, I've been going to therapy. I've been diagnosed with OCD. Not the arranged pencils kind on TV, but like real, like, didn't want to be here alive anymore OCD.
It was really interesting when I found out that OCD can lead to that. There's like this autism page that I follow, and they do a good job of, like, deep diving with professionals who know all the terms and how things can lead to, and I never knew that was a different association of OCD. Yeah, it's like, it's so interesting. When I was diagnosed, I didn't know much about it, obviously. I found out I had it. I was Googling symptoms for something else, and I was like, this is sounding real familiar to me. So I went to a specialist, because a lot of therapists don't know the signs of OCD, and so you'll be getting prescribed, like, talk therapy or something. I saw a few different therapists before I got diagnosed, and I don't think there's a good community among therapists sometimes. Maybe. Yeah, sometimes. Maybe. I don't know. I just know OCD is a specialist kind of work, and it's like, a lot of therapists do more kind of general work, but don't necessarily identify. Like, they might be, this is something you can read about, like, but, a lot of, like, kind of talk therapy approaches actually exacerbate OCD and, like, similar conditions. So I was just going through hell. So eventually, like, praise God, I found the help that I needed. But that has been a really intentional work. It took a lot of work to get to this point of just, like, feeling like good usually. And even now I'm just kind of having some struggles again, but I have the tools now. And I have the tools. I had a really amazing therapist. Shout out Gina. I can't remember the name of her practice. She left the app I was using. But Gina got it done though. Gina Rossetti, okay? She's a baddie. I love her. But yeah, or like the No CD app is really good. So if you had, I don't know. What's the No CD app? Tell me about that. It's just an app with OCD specialists, kind of like talk
BetterHelp or whatever. I can't remember the names of them, but BetterHelp, Talk something. But it's an app, and they're all OCD specialists specifically. And so if you have symptoms of that, which I think a lot of the tools I learned from managing OCD are so applicable to just everybody. And, you know, a lot of it is about accepting uncertainty, about presence. I use the Headspace app to learn awareness meditation. I think it's so helpful. Just being here, because you can be so many other places. And so it's just, and I think that's something I really being able to help pass on to my clients is like, that body awareness is helpful. You know, when you're posing and stuff, you don't know, a lot of people don't know what their face is doing. Because, you know, nobody's thinking about that all day, which is fair. But, you know, to be present in your body, like in that moment, not off thinking about what you have to do next or work you got to finish up, what you going to make for dinner, like all of that stuff. To be in a moment where you're actually right there is so special. And so, you know, I've been able to share that with my clients too.
I think it's unfortunate the bad reputation that apps like BetterHelp have created for themselves in terms of like not protecting people's information, selling it to different businesses, but like there are people who still do get help from these apps. So like when I have conversations, the reason I knew BetterHelp wasn't as good as they were advertising to be, and I tell a lot of folks this because they see a lot of their faves advertising it on like social media or like on YouTube. I was like, that's the power of marketing. They have a large marketing budget. So like us as either influencers or just as people with an opinion, we have to let it be known, hey, these apps aren't doing a great job. You can find what you're looking for, but after you find what you're looking for, you may have to figure out, all right, how can I see you outside of this app? Like things like that, those suggestions, because it's like, I want everyone to explore all the tools that they can, but I don't want the tools to be a detriment to them down the road just because you receiving help shouldn't come at the sacrifice of you later down the road. And I think about that quite often. For you, in terms of your situation, which thank you for sharing that with me, I appreciate that. What are usually your expectancy of like people who are close to you? Like how do they or can they support you?
When me and my husband were dating, I was like in the thick of OCD, but didn't really know it yet. So I would spend there would be days I just like would not go into work because I was like in bed ruminating, right? Like just. What
does it mean to ruminate?
To ruminate, just to think about something like constantly, you know, like trying to solve a problem that's not really solvable.
Like a
spiral, a deep spiral, and it would be to the point where I felt like I couldn't get out of bed that day unless I figured out this issue, right? So
is that analysis by paralysis or much more bleak than that?
I would say it's analysis paralysis, but like the pathological version, you know, just like I felt like if I didn't figure out like what was like in my mind, I dealt a lot with like faith, you know, and just like doubts about my own faith. And I hadn't had a healthy process for dealing with that. And so it would be like something would come up and I'd be like, if I don't have the answer to this, I just can't go. Like I don't know how to live my life without answers. And I think that part of OCD treatment, helping you go about your life even when you don't have all the answers. There are like OCD subtypes that deal with like pedophilia or like, you know, can you trust your own memory, you know? So intrusive thoughts are the core of like OCD. You know, we all have intrusive thoughts. We all think about hitting somebody on the side of the road, you know, but like
all been there.
But for the person with OCD, you may not be able to let go of that thought and you may spend a long time doing it's obsessive compulsive disorder. So the obsession could be like, I thought about hitting somebody on the side of the road. Am I a bad person? Would I ever hit that person? You know? And so you start doing compulsions, like, you know, so some people might see you washing your hands, you know, 10 times a day, right? Like that's what a lot of people associate OCD with. And that's real. But a lot of times people don't realize that's not just because I like clean hands. It could be any number of things, but it could be I wash my hands so that I don't get sick, or I wash my hands, it just makes me feel better for some reason, you know? And so to keep doing that.
Would you say that's similar to a fidget?
So what?
Similar to a fidget?
I don't know. I I don't know enough about a fidget to really like make that comparison, but the compulsion can be all kinds of things. It can be ruminating. It can be visible, like hand washing or organizing or whatever. It could be just, it can be all kinds of things. But and that's where it's important to find a specialist that can help you identify what the obsessions and actual compulsions are to, be able to say like, okay, let's do the work to stop you from doing the compulsion, to try to release that anxiety, right? And just learn to live with that anxiety, because it will dissipate. It will fade. It will go away. You will be okay. But you got to get there. And so back to the support thing. I told my husband, I'd be like, some days I just need a day, and I just like, sometimes I'm just not feeling good. Right. And so, and he understood that, and he was cool with that. And so when I got diagnosed, he was supportive, and I told him, I was like, okay, I can't, like, reassurance seeking is a compulsion. So I had this like kind of challenge with like relationship OCD, where I thought like, this man's gonna leave me. I'm too much. I'm just too dramatic. I have too many issues. He's gonna leave me. And I would get in this like spiral. And one of the compulsions I would do to try to relieve that anxiety was like, hey, do you still love me? But it wasn't like on that kind of cute like TikTok meme. It was like, I feel like I may die if you don't give me this reassurance. Like for real, like I don't think I can move on with the rest of my day in life if I don't get that reassurance, right? So I don't want anybody that's watching to like mix those two up. There is a cute version that's like, do you love me?
No, this is cute and this is dangerous.
But there is a pathological version that leaves you unable to live your life for real. And so now you're like in bed thinking about that, replaying all your relationship issues or whatever, replaying the last argument had over who left the toothpaste open, and thinking like your relationship is going to end because of that.
And over critiquing does bleed into other things eventually.
Exactly. And so so it would be that was just like one example of what was going on. But I asked him, I was like, you can't do the reassurance for me. You can't tell me you love me, or whatever it was in that moment. And this is so specific to everybody. Everybody has a different experience, and we all have similar ones sometimes, but your treatment plan is going to be so different than the next person. So I don't want anybody to like take this and, if somebody is struggling with OCD, or it's just having their eyes open to the idea of what it could be, please don't run with this. This is my experience.
That does sound familiar.
But go look it up. Don't do some compulsive Googling, but if the symptoms sound familiar, look for a specialist and ask. Because the worst thing you can do is to not ever ask any questions about it.
Especially someone who's actually a professional.
Yeah.
I think I'm conflicted on two things when it comes to mental health and the amount of information that is out there and not out there. Now, there's such an explosion of people who, with their experiences plus going to school for it, they're able to explain to us what it is. But the average person, because there is a certain amount of people who aren't on social media, they just refuse, right? When you Google stuff, when you get to a certain point of information or a certain amount of information, it's always seek professional help. But not everybody has money to go and afford the professional help that you want them to spend money to seek, especially like everyone's lifestyles aren't the same. People have to figure out, do I get to pay rent? My kids, they need to eat. I need to eat. My mom has an emergency. I did promise I'd help out when it comes to the family. And it's like this mental health game, I think, which is really unfair to the therapist, is people view therapists as you need to fix me. And the therapists were never supposed to be the final line of mental health emergencies or what's going on with people. We're supposed to be working as a community. That's why I always, when I use the word community, I'd speak about what is the community responsible for and not responsible for, and what is the person going through it responsible for and not responsible for, and what does that relationship between them look like? And then, okay, what should you expect of your therapist and the people that you get help from? Because like the system's messed up. That's just what it is. But I don't want to paint this unfair portrait of what the system that is supposed to be doing for us, especially when I have a lot of examples of the system not even fulfilling its own requirement and meeting its own basis. So with that being said, this has been another episode of Mental Health Monday. I'm gonna see you guys later. See you later, homies. Peace.
Bye, homies. Have a great day, and get the help you need when you can.
Yeah.
Get the help you need.
So this is where we do the intro.
Very cool. Hey, what's up? What's up, guys? Welcome to my channel. I'm not doing the Jamaican horns because you're Jamaican. I just
no, you're good. No,
I am not a racist.
I don't even view that as the Jamaican horns. There's other cultures that horn. Yeah.
I went to school in Rhode Island, and so everybody was Caribbean.
Really?
And so I only associate them.
we get around. I could see us being everywhere.
Well, all y'all were from New York. it was insufferable. I'm so sorry. It's a terrible time. God bless.
So you just had a whole bunch of New York, like Caribbean folks, just Caribbean. In Rhode Island, and that was it. That's hilarious.
I was suffering, but boy, oh boy, were the parties a good time.
I mean, I'm pretty sure the food was always good too.
I did go to culinary school, so that was a kind of necessary function. My roommate was a pastry chef, or not was a pastry. She is now, but she was in a pastry program. So when I said fresh bread, she's coming in with sourdough all the time.
They live around the way. I'm looking for some chefs for these ideas.
No, she's in California.
Oh yeah, no, that's far away.
Napa Valley, living her Sausalito wine life.
How dare she? This is your personal camera, by the way, if you ever want to say anything.
I
mean, you kind of did it already. You did a great job, but
what up, guys? It's me, Chloe Bovia, with Bovia & Co. Photography.
Yeah.
I'm a beautiful, wonderful Black woman. A believer in Christ Jesus our Lord. My brother in Christ, please.
Jesus!
I'm not the hotep I look like. I'm sorry, guys.
You look like a hotep? Is that what a hotep looks like?
You know, I had a different nose ring a couple of years ago. I just never got around to replacing it, and it was like swirly.
Yeah.
And I was giving the girls sage, Erykah Badu. I'm like, sorry, guys.
The Badu incense. That's funny.
I was like one eyebrow shave away from like fully looking the part, but
would you shave your eyebrows?
No, I mean, no, I like them.
Yeah, okay.
They're good enough, you know, like I don't really do much with them, but they're there.
It didn't seem like a you move. But yeah, hey, welcome back to another episode of Mental Health Monday. Here with my girl, Chloe. What up, Chloe?
Hi, guys.
Official photographer, GetHomeSafe on game.
I'm putting that on my website.
Yeah, no, hey, do it. Shoot, I'll put it on my website. Have like a little profile. Hey, all photos that you see, you know who it is.
I need the SEO bump too, so backlink.
I got you. Let me know about the hashtags that you use. So what does it mean to be a photographer?
Take pictures. I take pictures and I sell that service. I think, you know, I'm not going to get into a whole conversation about it, but I see people debate like, what's a professional photographer? Like, as soon as you start asking people for money to take photos, you're a professional. I don't care how good or quote good
honestly,
you are.
Once your emotions are tied into the product, you're a professional.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Once it's a product, you're a professional, even if you're not good at it.
if there's a focus, if there's an ask, if there's an expectation, you've crossed over into the line of being a professional. Now, if you're not consistent in your own daily life, that has nothing to do with us.
Nothing.
It's just that easy to get in there.
But what makes a photographer is somebody that takes photos on purpose.
Yeah.
I think that's the only requirement in my mind. Like, do you take photos on purpose?
And meeting deliverables. You deliver.
Look, if you're not delivering, you're just not a good photographer, okay? You're not a reliable photographer, but you're a photographer.
I mean, there's some photographers who don't deliver that consider themselves good, so we gotta be careful with that word. But
consider
you deliver
themselves, okay? Good is in the eye of the beholder. Let's be honest. But you know, all I want to say is make art and enjoy yourself doing it. We need art for art's sake. Beauty is important. You know, I think God made the world beautiful, and when He didn't have to, we could have just been cement blocks all the day.
Cement block, everything.
Vision, you know?
Just gray, yellow, gray hue, grayer gray.
But why do we have flowers if beauty is not there for the sake of beauty?
Yeah. And
that's my belief, at least.
That's a good belief.
I love you guys. Have a wonderful day. Take care of yourselves and take care of your people. And take care of people who you don't really think of your people. Because they need you. We need you. It was a good time. I had a good time. My husband texted me. He's stressed out.
Same here. I could imagine. I was looking. I was like, yeah, no, it's 20 minutes. We had 25. Perfect.
He just didn't know what I did today. I was like, I told you yesterday. It's fine.
You can tell myself what's up.
Yeah, I will. Yeah. He's just like, he's like trying to quietly express that he doesn't know what's going on. And it's just not like
one day I need to hang out with him. What's he doing on the 19th of November?